because if you refuse to take on responsibility for anything, you will feel powerless.
So we're talking about selflessness leading to higher contentment.
Yep.
Is taking responsibility and selflessness. Can you be responsible without being selfless?
Can you be responsible without being selfless?
And we can use maybe an example. Okay, so I'm married. So if I'm not taking responsibility, surely that means I'm being selfish.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to differentiate. Normally taking on responsibility, it to some extent involves taking responsibility for other people and doing things for them. And yeah.
But okay, so let's say you have a job.
Yeah.
Essentially, a job is a responsibility.
It is. It is.
And you are getting reimbursed.
You are.
Financially, usually. But it's still, you're sacrificing your time.
You are.
For money.
Yeah.
For a better future, or a future where you can afford to live. So even in that example, you are selfless to a degree.
To a degree, sure.
So that you can be selfish later.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are, for sure. But if I'm looking at life, right, the biggest reason I can see for wanting to take on responsibility is because if you refuse to take on responsibility for anything, you will feel powerless. There's no difference between responsibility and power.
So the most powerful man in the world, probably Donald Trump, he's the president.
Yeah.
He has a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Ultimately, he's more responsible than any other man in the world. What's happening with the... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, in your life, right?
Yeah.
A great way to know if you're feeling powerless, you're feeling helpless.
Yeah.
It's actually a great sign you're not taking on responsibility. If you're in a situation and you feel powerless and helpless, what you've done is you've passed that responsibility on to somebody else, and you're waiting for them to fulfill what you want. And while they're not, you're feeling powerless and helpless. So it's why the most people who are really successful in life, they actually go, I'm going to take responsibility for as much as I can. And it actually leads to it can feel like quite a bit of pressure, but it ultimately removes the feeling of helplessness and powerlessness.
And the most successful people have taken on so much responsibility and are so efficient at it.
Yeah.
That what they're really doing is being responsible for people who then are responsible for people who are then responsible for people then.
Yeah.
It's like the chain of command.
Yeah. And you look at somebody like the most powerful people, like an Elon Musk. He's taken on responsibility for so much in the world. And he's become so powerful because of it.
Some would argue.
Some would. But because of the responsibility he's tried to take on, and he has successfully taken on, he's become so powerful. He's telling the US government what to do.
Yes, well, they reckon if he hadn't have done what he did in buying Twitter and everything else that Trump... Maybe who knows?
Like, whether you agree with him taking on that responsibility or not, he ultimately said, I'm going to take on responsibility for the future of electric vehicles. I'm going to take on responsibility for free
space
speech.
Travel.
I'm going to take on responsibility for space travel.
AI.
Government efficiency.
Yeah, name it.
And because he's been somewhat successful at everything he's done...
Well, super successful.
Very successful.
He just keeps getting more and more responsibility.
And he becomes more and more powerful.
AKA more powerful.
Yeah. There's no difference.